Welcome to Dental Success Beyond Chairside, the podcast that is dedicated to revolutionising the way dental professionals succeed beyond the dental chair. Join us for a unique blend of insightful interviews with industry experts and valuable tidbits of information to help you thrive in your dental specialist practice. In each 20-minute episode, we'll delve into a variety of topics, including HR, marketing, innovative techniques and systems, and AI, to help you transform your practice and unlock its full potential. Whether you're a dentist, specialist, or oral health therapist looking to enhance your practice, this podcast is your go-to resource for professional, personal, and profitable success. Get ready to go beyond the dental chair and discover what lies ahead in your practice journey with Dental Success Beyond Chairside. Welcome to today's episode of Dental Success Beyond Chairside. Does social media feel an overwhelming chore for your practice, especially when there's so much else on your plate? If so, you're not alone, and today's episode is here to help. I'm honoured to welcome our guest, Sarah Thomson, founder of Online Social Butterfly. Thank you so much for joining us today, Sarah. It's great to have you here.
Thank you, Michelle. I'm absolutely thrilled to be a guest on your podcast and so excited to talking to your audience.
And I'm excited for you to share what you have to show us. Sarah boasts over 2 decades of marketing prowess with a rich background that includes international roles and leadership in various sectors. Sarah, can you share your story and offer some insights to help our listeners make social media more effective and maybe even enjoyable in their dental practices?
Sure. Well, I'll start a little bit with my story. I started Online Social Butterfly 14 years ago, which seems insane because I sometimes still feel like I'm making it up as I go along. But I started when my sons, who are both now out of school, were very young. My son was actually preschool at that age, my youngest. I moved out of corporate marketing just simply for work-life balance because marketing is incredibly chaotic, takes up lots of time. I just felt like I wasn't doing anything well. I wasn't doing my role well. I wasn't being a mother well. I thought I'll start a little business in social media. I kind of thought I'd give it a couple of years and then I'd go back and get a proper job. Here we are 14 years later and social media has become an absolute monolith. 14 years ago, one of my prime services was actually my clients paid me to set up their Facebook page because people simply didn't have one. I remember saying to people, you'll have to have one of these. It's really important. My job was almost like a sales role to say, you need social media. I guess what's really interesting is now everyone has social media and every business has to have social media. And in that 14 years, we've seen the change happen slowly, but it happens when we're not looking. This is why social media is now such a huge beast and becomes so overwhelming, is because for many of us, we sat on the sidelines and ignored it and felt like this is maybe going to go away or it's not going to be my core marketing. Here we are. And most businesses would have at least 4 social media profiles and we have to be on there constantly and we have to be creating content. We have to keep up with all the rules and changes. And it's actually can be really overwhelming for many business owners.
Yes, dental practices, a lot, they need to be showing up to be authentic and they need to be genuine, because what will happen is somebody might recommend a dental practice to them and then they'll do a Google search. Google business profile is obviously very important, and search engine optimization on their website. But to see and get that personal attraction for dental practices, just for people to think, can I connect with them? They will quite often go to Instagram, Facebook, and I'm not sure you said that there was 4 that a lot are with. I find that dental practices can probably navigate those 3 with Google Business Profile quite well, just from what I've seen in working with practices. I find that they might do a personal story about, yay, we've had this, it's Dr. such and such's birthday today, we've had a birthday, and then they won't post for a few months. Consistency is key in social media. Do you want to share a bit about that with us, Sarah?
Absolutely. And I think that's one of in my opinion, you're better to get off a platform than post sporadically, because what that says to your audience is, I'm not that invested in my social media. I don't really care about it. I don't value it. What that translates to from your customer's perspective is, well, how seriously do they take their business? And if I walk in there, do they care about me? And what's my experience going to be like? Remember, everywhere someone touches you says something about your brand and your business. So if your social media is sad and neglected and not kept up to date, what that tells people is this probably isn't the business we want to work with. To this day, people still don't value how important social media is in terms of their customers and their customer coming in and working with them. It's really important that you have content going out consistently. Now, I'm not going to offer a thought on how often is enough, but I can just say at least daily. Most people don't want to hear that because it means that they've got to work really hard and be really consistent. But what it does mean from your audience's perspective is that they're seeing you really regularly. They're keeping your brand top of mind and they're reminded or told what services it is that you offer. Sometimes we don't know that. And I actually have a dental practice as a client, and one of their most successful strategies has been talking about the wide range of services that they have through their socials. And this alone, they changed nothing, has had such a growth pattern in their business because they've been able to see clients who have been coming to them for ages come back for services because they simply didn't know that they were offered.
So yes, it can be very much a competitive advantage because I would say a vast majority of dental and specialist practices do not post consistently. I feel that they're probably very sporadic. Perhaps daily might be a little bit too much for them and a bit overwhelming initially. But what would you say from your expertise? How is it an easy way for them to adapt for consistent posts without putting in inverted commas too much effort long term? They might have to do something a little bit short.
There are so many amazing scheduling tools now. If you're not sure what a scheduling tool is, it is something that allows you to post onto your social medias without you having to actually go onto that platform and post live in real time. I think for most business owners, this is a huge relief because when I said daily, you probably all burst into tears and thought, well, I can't do that. But if you use scheduling tools, and particularly the ones that recycle content, they are going to make it so much easier for you to create content and get the most from it. In reality, if you post daily, less than 5% of your followers will see any post on any given day. The first thing I want to dispel is that your audience will not get sick of seeing you. Okay. So you might get sick of seeing you, and I probably post 2 to 3 times a day on my socials. I would get sick of seeing me, but my audience, if I'm lucky, might see me 2 or 3 times a week. Okay, so please get rid of that. It's too much. It's overwhelming. It's annoying because absolutely your audience is not seeing that. But what you really want to do is, and most businesses have got an amazing back catalogue of content that they've created. So you might have gone into Canva and done some beautiful slides that have got some like a series of testimonials, or here's some of our services, or meet the team. Those are all amazing pieces of content, which are what we call evergreen. They can go up on your socials anytime, recurring till, the end of days sort of thing. What I would encourage you to do is look at a social media scheduling tool that would allow you to upload your content and then to reuse and recycle that content. Now, Michelle, I know you and I were talking before because we both use a tool called Socialmonials, and I am a huge fan of Socialmonials. I've been using it for probably about 18 months now, and prior to that I was using a similar scheduling tool which allowed me to put content into libraries and recycle it. And that means that I'm just back from holidays and I know that my content was going out consistently because it has been recycled. Now, I've been using recycling scheduling tools, I would say probably for about 8 years. In that time, I have seen posts repeat and I'm like, oh, I don't want to see that. That's annoying. In that time, not once, not ever, I've had a single person say to me, I've seen that post before. Okay, so please let go of that.
It was funny because I knew nothing personally for myself. I was not on social media when I first started my business only 2.5 years ago. I was lucky to meet with Sarah, who was a mentor and a coach to me for getting onto social media. She explained this recurring platforms and I didn't really understand it. I was just like, so what does that mean? I used it immediately and I've shared it with so many people within the business community to say these recurring posts are absolutely amazing. I set up a lot of posts myself personally, just on practice management tips. I was able to set up 30 or 36, maybe even more, and they post every week. And then every 36 weeks, it just starts again. It's been really good for me to know I can basically post and forget. And then you have those other things that are your personal ones that you leave time for in your social media calendar each week. So you can have those things that you actually do have personally, or you have a transformation of a patient, but you can do those as evergreen as well with the patient's authorization. With testimonials, you can do that, but you just have to be a bit careful that it's not clinical because APRA have quite big guidelines with
Yes.
regard to advertising in dentistry.
Okay. Apologies for that.
No, that's good. But you have to be a bit mindful sometimes with APRA. Now, AI, how do you think AI can help? Because obviously that's the buzzword. I did a talk in September 2023 and I was talking about ChatGPT. Not one person in the room had heard about it. And then last year I did another talk for the Australian Dental Association in WA about ChatGPT, and probably half to three quarters had heard of it, but nobody's really experienced it. But there's so much more AI around now. Can you share a bit about that?
I want to just preface the talk on AI by saying I've been working in the AI space for probably about 2.5 years solidly, training, speaking on it. I also have an AI startup company that we started at the beginning of last year that has like a corporate application. But with AI, by and large, every single meeting that I go to, whether I'm sitting around a boardroom with the C-suite executives or talking to a small business owner, the comment that I hear most often is, we know you need to be using AI and we have no idea how to use it. For your listeners, if they're sitting there going, oh, not this AI again, please note that by and large, the conversations that I have are to do with, yes, we know AI is coming. Yes, we know it's going to change things, but we simply don't know how that's going to work and what it's going to look and feel like. My comment would be to you as a business owner to look into starting small. When it comes to starting small, I would say that your content on socials is the perfect place for you to start. I use ChatGPT. I'm an expert in that. I absolutely love it as a tool. And there are some amazing shortcuts that you can create. If you know the right prompts, and Michelle, I might give you a PDF to hand out to your listeners. I have a one-page PDF prompt that will walk you through all of the prompts that you need to create a month's worth of content in a table, because ChatGPT will create tables, and then your content is done in about 30 seconds. For your audience that are listening going, it's overwhelming, it's so time consuming, please note that ChatGPT has revolutionized how we create content. And it is really good because it allows us to set our tone and our voice and our language. We can train a GPT to understand who we are. We can create a customized one that knows everything about our business. And it can then create a month's worth of content based on that information. It has transformed the way we create content, the time that it takes, and even those things, like I constantly take footage on my phone of the most random things and I have no idea how I'm going to use that. And then I will say to ChatGPT, like I went to Bali a little while ago and I had one of those, those swings that go off a cliff, and it's beautiful footage. Yeah. I was like, hey, I've got this beautiful footage of me on a swing with a long dress and it looks amazing. How can I use that to sell this product? It created the hook for me. I'm great at marketing, but I could have sat here to the end of time and not come up with that. It was so quick and it gave me 4 options. If you have any footage that you've created, ask ChatGPT, I've created this footage. This is the theme of it. How can I use it to sell or promote X, Y, and Z? That in and of itself is amazing because most people don't think to ask, how can I use this? Create me some linking language, create a call to action based on this. I love it for that because that's the creative part that if you don't have a marketing brain, is really hard to come up with. So it will help you in so many ways.
I have to say, a lot of us that work in dental do not have a marketing brain.
That's great because that's why I'm here.
Exactly. That's why we have you, Sarah. ChatGPT has been a game changer per ChatGPT and transformational per GPT. But starting small, I think, is a really good thing for you to start. I remember just Googling smile quotes when I was doing social media before ChatGPT, and I'd have to go in there and then I'd have to go, okay, this, that, and the other. Whereas if you create, can you find 30 smile quotes to do with orthodontics, for instance? It'll come up with some great quotes with names, and then you can just download that into Canva, put that onto your Recur post for, posting Tuesday quotes or whatever, or Fun Fact Fridays, whatever you want to do. And that's going out every Friday, which is really good. I was just speaking to a practice owner this morning with regard to AI, because there's AI scribes now, which is really good for medical notes. There's
Absolutely.
AI that's being created to create treatment planning and things like that. She was saying we need AI to answer the phones, like to do it really well, for the patients to know it's AI, to pass it to the clinic if required, but to be able to help people over the phone because they've learnt, like you've said with ChatGPT, learning about you, your tone, your voice. What's happening in this space, Sarah?
In my AI company, at the end of last year, the Korean government paid for us to go up to Korea and to meet with a bunch of businesses up there to see how they're using AI and how we can integrate it into our own AI company. I have to say, I felt like they were living in another century. They're so far ahead. Every single thing that you touch is AI. So in your hotel suite, it's an iPad. You pay on the iPad. It has a swipe. A robot delivers your room service and it has AI. All of these cool things. It's very... I know I felt like I'd just landed in the Jetsons, and I work in an AI company, so I'm pretty up to date with tech. What's really exciting is those kind of grassroots roles that exist in our businesses. So anything to do with a repetitive task. So we're talking admin, we're talking customer service. Those are going to be revolutionized. But what you must do is find out how to use them in your business. One of the exciting things we're seeing, and there's lots of companies evolving as a poor, it's everywhere there, and it's really exciting. There are lots of tools out there now that allow you to train the bot. The reason we want bots trained is because at the moment, a lot of people have a really negative perception of like a chat bot on your website. They're really clunky, they break really easily, they sound really inhuman, and people hate them. They're not giving a good customer service experience. We now have the capability with what we call large language models like ChatGPT to create a bot at a really inexpensive price that will give verified content answers. If I'm on your dental practice website and I want to know what your hours are, the bot knows that because it's been programmed, and it gives me a verified response. That customer service experience is going to be amazing on websites moving forward. But in terms of being able to speak to AI, ChatGPT introduced the speaking feature late 2024. And can I just say, in Korea, one of the main things about that was really cool is the ChatGPT app. You can speak into the app and it will reply and speak in Korean. Whenever I was going somewhere, it acted as a translator. Most people don't know that you can actually now speak to ChatGPT. You can speak to the app and say to it, I want to create a customer service bot and I don't know how to do it. Can you talk me through it? It will talk you through it. It writes your answers as you speak. If you're not a writer and you don't want to sit in front of a keyboard, get the ChatGPT app, put it on your phone and start talking to it. The exciting things we're seeing are definitely customer service. So the ability for an AI to answer your phone any time of the day or night, Christmas Day, whenever you're not open, for the prospective customer to have a great experience. It can look into your calendars, see when you're available. It can talk to you about treatments. It can give you quotes. It's going to really change the way in which we do things. We're already seeing this integrated. When I was in Singapore, most restaurants have that feature where you can ring and speak to an AI. A lot of websites now have it. We're going to see that come through really fast. One of the other things that we're going to see is used in future planning and predictions. What I mean by this is if I go into my dentist, who I've been seeing for quite a long time, and I'm a 50-year-old woman, it can have a look at my treatments that I've had to date, my x-rays to date, and it can predict what future treatments I'm going to need. Now, as a great dentist, they can probably do that, but what a lovely backup to have some AI to help you with that.
I can see that might be a bit controversial for some of our listeners because a lot like evidence-based, there are dental practices that are early adopters, but essentially they are more conservative with regard to that thinking.
Absolutely. And what I want to say is it doesn't replace a dentist. What it does is it verifies your thoughts. As an expert, particularly if you run a small dental practice where you don't have someone to bounce ideas off or share information with, sometimes you just need someone else to go, this is what I think their treatment plan is. What do you think? The AI then just becomes another brain in your business. It's not something you necessarily share with patients. It's a tool that you use to support what your thoughts are. And as a small business owner myself, sometimes I would just love another person to go, hey, you're on the right track, Sarah, or hey, do you think you've forgotten something? I think if you can embrace it and use it inside your business, it doesn't have to be customer facing. It can just help and support your service.
Oh, I think that's actually a very good summary, Sarah. Is there anything that you'd like to talk about that we have missed?
I think we've covered it all, but I would just say, please approach your social media like it is one of your main revenue drivers, because if we threw that weight and energy behind it, we're going to see the results come from it. I think because a lot of us are haphazard and we don't show up consistently, we're not getting the results, and therefore we think it's social media, and actually it's usually the way in which we've applied ourselves. If I could say one thing, consistency is always the secret sauce.
Yes, that's right. I'd like to say when you said when people post sporadically, it shows they're not actually invested in their business. I thought that was interesting and very true on reflection. that can be a competitive advantage for your dental practice. And now with these tools available, it makes it much more easier for practice managers, people working in the practice, owners, to actually be able to be consistent, show their authentic face and gain more patients. Thank you so much, Sarah, for joining us today. For more information about Sarah and Online Social Butterfly, please see our show notes for website and social media profiles. Thank you so much, Sarah, for joining us today. It was a pleasure you sharing your expertise, and it was so good to learn more about what's happening in AI. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me, Michelle.
Thanks, Sarah. Bye. If you enjoyed this episode, please subscribe to our podcast or YouTube channel. Your feedback helps us continue delivering valuable content and insights from leaders in the dental industry. In our next episode of Dental Success Beyond Chairside, I'll be joined by Carolyn S. Dean from The Fully Booked Dentist. We'll be talking about how practice owners can simplify their marketing and stay consistent with social media even with limited time. Carolyn will share practical strategies and tools that can help make the process easier. This is an episode you won't want to miss. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next time.